After a 40-year military and law enforcement career, I'm moving on to another dream, which is to become the best possible actor I can be. I preach this to people all the time. If you want to have content, create your own content. I saw somebody come back and say, well, sorry, I don't have a $5 million budget. Well, I don't have a $5 million budget either, but you know what? I got this cheap iPhone. Most people have veterans in their family. Most people have friends who are veterans. As far as helping them, whether you're a veteran or you're not a veteran, most people can look at somebody and say, hey, that's a little unusual what he's been doing.
All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Be Frank Podcast, episode 25. I'm very committed to provide you guys a podcast to inspire and learn and be happy. Today, we have a special guest, retired veteran, retired police officer. Now he is an actor, and also he's everywhere on the social media. Philip Paz, thank you for coming.
Sure. Glad to be here, man. Thanks for calling me.
How you been doing?
I'm doing good. Doing good, man. I when you invited me to the podcast, I was like, yes, man. Because I keep up with you on social media as well, and you're getting into so much stuff, dude. I'm really proud of you, and I just want to come sit down and talk to you and catch up because it's been a while.
It's been a while. It's like we were just talking about 2016. We did a Hudiburg car commercial together, and then ever since then, I've seen you from I think I saw you on the Super Bowl commercial for some finance company. I don't know. I don't remember.
It was a USAA commercial.
Yes. Yeah. That was a Super Bowl, right?
They did play it during the Super Bowl about a couple of years ago, and it was my first national commercial spot. And it played for about 3.5 years. It's actually still you can still see it every now and then.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good commercial, and USAA, I played a military veteran in the commercial, and so it was
true
nice.
Yourself.
which I actually am. So it wasn't much of a stretch. I didn't have to act a whole lot.
Yeah. So how did you how that make you feel seeing that yourself in the Super Bowl commercial?
Awesome.
Yeah.
It was really awesome, man. As an actor, we like to get our face out there, and when you see your face on a platform, on a national platform, it's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. So people who doesn't know about you, I'd like to ask this question, if you are making a brand new website today, and then if you have to write the bio, what would that bio say?
Oh gosh, something to the effect of, after a 40-year military and law enforcement career, which I'm very proud of, which is a very distinguished career that, again, I'm very proud of. I served in the United States Air Force for 24 years in the reserves. I got to travel the world, see a lot of things. And then also as an Oklahoma City police officer, I did that for just shy of 30 years. I retired in April of 20, and though I loved those chapters of my life, and those were my dreams at the time, now I'm moving on to another dream, which is to become the best possible actor I can be.
So what made you decide, what made you wanting to become an actor?
Well, it's kind of a funny story. I have a son. He lives in Los Angeles, and he's in the film industry business. And he's more into the editing and photography and videography.
Behind the camera stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, he came home on vacation once, and he had a new camera. I'll never forget this. It was a Cameron 7D. And this was in 2011. I'm sorry. Yeah. Was it 2011? Yeah, 2011. He came home for a vacation. He said, hey, Dad, I got this new camera. I want to try it out. He said, can you and Mom come out and let me take some photos? So, all right, we went outside, kind of doing some yard work, and he's taking pictures, testing out his new camera. He said, hey, let me test out the video. So he sets the video up on the camera, and he points it at me. He says, say something. I said, well, what do you want me to say? He said, I don't care. Just say anything. I'm just testing it out. I said, well, hang on a second. let me go in the house, and I wrote this 5-minute monologue about a veteran, a combat veteran who has some issues. So I came back out, and I did this little monologue, and he's looking at the video later, and he says, that's not half bad. You might think about taking some acting lessons. I said, really? Never thought about acting before.
Yeah.
So I'm like, taking an acting lesson, huh? So a few months later, for Christmas, he bought me some acting classes at the Actor Factory down in Norman, Oklahoma.
Got you.
So my first class was on January 3rd, 2012. I don't know why I remember that date, but that's when it was. And the class was audition for film and television. No, I'm sorry, on-camera technique for film and something like that. And I took my first class, and I got in front of that camera and said a few lines, and ever since then, man, I was hooked. I said, this is what I want to do. I want to be an actor. So that's how I got into it.
Was that was that like what made you make you hook? Like, is that something like you can act, visualize, and then it's on the camera, seeing yourself on the a TV? Like, what got you hooked?
It's funny because I'm one of those guys who I don't have model looks. I'm not tall. I don't have a great body. I don't have any of that. But and I don't especially like to watch myself on camera, but just the challenge of learning lines and then standing up and putting the right face on or looking the right direction or interacting with another actor or actress, that just, man, it just intrigues me. And think of the funnest thing that you like to do, and that's it for me. I'm going back and forth doing this acting, and and a director will tell you, okay, now in this scene here, I want to see you have a little more passion or a little more feeling, and I even want to see you cry, whatever.
Yeah.
But that is a challenge to me. I say, okay, accepted. I'm going to do that. And I get butterflies just thinking about it, and especially when I'm actually doing it. Okay, here's what I want for this scene, Phil. Well, I get the butterflies going, okay, man, I'm going to show you what I can do. And it's just a blast. I just have a lot of fun doing it.
I was always curious, I'm always being behind a camera kind of person. Recently, I started doing YouTube and all that kind of stuff, trying to be more in front of camera. And I always say I have a radio face or whatever. But also, it's funny because you're saying your son had a 7D camera for the first camera, because that was my first professional camera I got for myself.
Really?
Because of after I did an internship for the whole summer for my first year of college for going to film school. I did a internship for a feature film called Long Drive Home, and then so I did work for free for whole summer, right? And then after that movies, and the director liked me a lot, and then he said I worked hard, so he gave me 7D. And then I asked for I need a lens too, So I got a 50 millimeter lens too. And then that's when I start taking picture for families and friends and stuff. And that's how I got started my career. That was 7D. It was 2011, I would believe. So it's kind of funny you said your son had a 7D camera and then started stuff. And then I thought that was a pretty good coincidence. But I always wonder, people try to go acting class. What does acting class look like?
I mean, it's just kind of what you think it would be. I mean, you walk into a room, about this size for me, and there's 7 to 15 students in there. You'll have an instructor, and depending on what kind of class it is, because at the Actor Factory where I did all my actor training, for the entire year of 2012, I took every class that they offered. I'm talking about the auditioning techniques, improv classes. I took several improv classes. But I mean, you just go in there, and a lot of times they'll give you written scenes, and they say, okay, pick a partner, and you guys come back next week and do this scene together. And so you do a lot of that. And of course, the improv classes, similar to that, except you don't really have any prepared written scenes. They'll say, okay, 4 people, set the chairs up. Say you're in a car, and you're the mom, you're the dad, you're the kids, and you're going to Disneyland, but somebody has to use the restroom really bad, and go, and and you just play it off the top of your head.
Yeah.
Which the improv classes helped me the most as far as dealing with nerves, and because a lot of times when you go into an audition, sometimes you can forget the words, but if you know how to improv, well, you kind of know what the scene's about, so just say some words that still go along with the scene.
Got you.
And you can be okay.
Yeah.
So I love the improv classes, but yeah, pretty much, learning the scenes, doing them with partners, working with partners, going back and forth with dialogue to partners. That's a lot of it.
Yeah, did you ever have like you seem like a very natural to me on the camera, like every time I met you, you're a confidence guy. Did you always have that confidence? And then like confidence in life and then confidence in front of camera is kind of a little bit different, right? But did you always had that, or is that natural talent, or is that something you had to learn over time?
It's funny you say that, because a lot of people, they will say you have a lot of confidence. And I like to think I do, but in the acting world, if you're not really used to just getting up and standing in front of people and speaking, or speaking in front of a camera, there's a lot of getting used to. For me personally, I'm a pretty confident person. I'm a very confident person, but there are times. And I'll give you a perfect. I don't always have that confidence, and I'm going to tell you a perfect story about that. I've had a few auditions for the Chicago series, Chicago PD, Chicago Fire.
Awesome.
And so I got to actually go to Chicago and audition.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I did fine. Okay, get up there, say my lines with the casting director, and cool. One time I got a call back where I came back, I did the call back, and I did pretty good. On another occasion, same thing. I got a call back, I went back, and even though I thought I aced the first audition, which I guess I did because they called me back, and then I was in front of 2 of the directors and the casting director as well now, and I had a panic attack, an anxiety attack, and
like your heart was pounding.
My heart was pounding. My mouth got dry.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like my tongue was working right, and I was looking at these people going, man, I don't know why this is happening, and I really don't. I don't know why that happened, but that's happened to me a couple of times. It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen, and it's always at the back of my mind. So I try to, repress that and say, okay, it's not going to happen this time. So it can happen to anyone. It can happen to anyone. Trust me, because if someone thinks they're going to get up every single time and kill it every single time, 100% of the time, power to you if you do that. But I think those people are going to be few and far between. But generally, yes, I'm a very, very confident person, and I don't have any problem.
So what did you do after you had a panic attack? How did you get through it?
I did the scene. I said all the lines, but I'm pretty sure that they could see, because I would be willing to bet that you could have saw my shirt bouncing in and out. That's how hard my heart was pounding.
Yeah.
And my mouth, and I kept licking my lips because I was losing all my moisture. It was something else. But it happens. It happens, man. It happens.
But you got the part?
I did not get the part.
Oh, you did?
No, I did not get the part.
I thought you did.
No, and one of the directors, I know they could tell because he said, all right, hang on. Let's do it again. We're just two people talking here. Let's do the scene again. And so I knew they could tell.
Yeah.
And but it happens, man.
Yeah.
It happens. Normally I'm very confident, but that can happen to anyone.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, for sure. And then I'm curious because, like, you know, you being on, like, big sets, like, you know, like, since from, like, you know, a long time ago, like a local commercial, and then, like, you're working on the Chicago PD and then national stuff and then bigger stuff. And a lot of actors and then talents from, I guess, especially from Oklahoma, right? Mm-hmm. They're starting from student film and all that kind of stuff, and then they kind of stuck in that, like a budget wise, I guess, production wise, to be seen by millions of people. Like, you have to have some sort of a hump next step, right? But you took that step. Like, what made you, not made you, or like, what was the things you did to go over that from like a local to bigger stuff?
Yeah, you're right, because, you know, once I got started into acting, I did a lot of local indie productions, just like the commercial we did. You know, I did a lot of local commercials, smaller indie productions. I did some of my own short films, which did pretty well in the film festival circuit. But one thing that I do is I use social media to market myself. Okay, and I use the heck out of it. And, you know, a lot of times my wife is like, "Why do you put yourself out there so much?" And I say, "Hang on now. I just, you know, I want it to happen. If people don't know about you, how are they going to hire you?"
Yeah.
Okay, because there's different schools of thought. Some people think that you can put yourself out there too much on social media as an actor. Me, personally, I don't. I think the wider audience that you can get around the world, because let's face it, social media goes around the world. The larger audience that you can get around the world, more people who are going to see you, that's more opportunities. And for me, it paid off. And the reason I say that is because on Facebook, you know, I put a lot of my acting clips on Facebook. I also do, you know, I'm a cover singer, so I put a lot of my songs on Facebook. And there's a group that I'm a member of on Facebook called Veterans in Film and Television, and which is based out of Los Angeles. But of course, you know, it's the internet, so anyone who's a veteran can join, who's in the business. Well, someone put out a notice for this national commercial for the USAA, and it was going to be a big commercial.
Yeah.
They said, if you want to audition for this, send your information to this email. Well, I sent my information and a demo reel to this email, and the production company that was making the commercial, they got a hold of me. They said, please send us an audition video. I sent them a video, and I nailed it. I got that as my first national commercial that I got basically through social media.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, and it was probably my biggest project to date. Played for several years on a national forum, and so in that instance, social media worked for me. And I just returned from Arkansas 2 weeks ago. I spent a week in Arkansas shooting my first lead role in a feature film. And the way that I found out about that role, again, I put my acting reels on social media like crazy. And one of the platforms is LinkedIn.
Oh, really?
Okay, and LinkedIn is huge. You know about LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So I put my acting reels, you know, I probably have 40, 50 acting reels on there. And I had the director.
40, 50 acting reels?
Yeah.
Like, it's a different reels, or like you posted 40, 50 times?
I've got a lot of reels.
Oh, really?
And yeah, and I'll tell you how to do that here in just a minute. But anyway, this director who was making this film in Arkansas, he was seeing my stuff.
Yeah.
And he sent me an email through LinkedIn. He said, "Hey, I'm so and so. We're making this project. Wondering if you'd be interested in reading for this role that I have."
Yeah.
And he sent me the script. He said, "Can you please take the script, several of the parts for this character, put them together, and make it into a monologue?" So I said, "Sure." So I did that, and it was about a 4-minute monologue, and I sent it to him. He says, "That's pretty good. Can you?" And he gave me some direction. "Can you do it this way this time?" So I did it, sent it back to him. He said, "Yeah, we'd like to offer you a contract to do this, to be this lead in this film." And I was like, "Sure."
That's
and,
awesome.
Yeah. So again, social media got that gig for me. And you asked me about, how many reels do I put out? I've got a lot of reels. And the thing about it is, one school of thought is, if people are seeing you all the time, they're not going to pay money to go see you in the movies. Well, I disagree. I think if they get to know you already and you tell people, "Hey, I'm going to be in this film," I think they're going to rally and go see that. That's just me.
Yeah.
There's different ways to look at it, but that's how I look at it. So what I do is, in this day and age that we live in, think about in the 60s or 70s what it took to do a film, a screen test or whatever, or make a movie. You had to have all this gigantic equipment, cables, lighting, people. You basically had to have a company to set that up so you could film somebody, say words on a camera.
Yeah.
But now, what do we have?
We got phones too.
We got iPhones. We got iPhones that have better technology than any production company had up to the
for sure.
early 90s.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can make an acting scene with my iPhone with awesome sound. It looks good. You can edit it on your iPhone.
Yeah.
And send it off around to the other side of the globe in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I take advantage of that. So I set it up. Okay, today I want to play a military contractor who is telling my men we're fixing to go after al-Zarqawi or whatever. And I'm telling these guys what we're fixing to go do, blah, blah, blah. Set it up, put a helicopter background on it, and hook it up. And that's an acting. That's part of my acting.
So you
reel.
do reels. So most of actors, my understanding was like they have a film, they acted on it, they get the footage, cut the reels. But what sounds like what you're doing is you make reels?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes. Now, the projects that I do have, there are some of those projects where from my some of the indie movies I've had and made, I do cut those in as well.
Yeah.
Because I have a commercial reel, which also includes the Chevrolet commercial we did way back in the day. I have a commercial reel. But yes, if you're an established actor who works regularly in big budget shows and you have those reels available to you, hey, power to you. But if you're Joe Blow like me, who hasn't been in that many things yet and doesn't have access to be able to cut those things together, use that technology you have in your back pocket and make your own.
Yeah.
And that's what I used when I sent my audition in for the USAA commercial. And this last project I worked on in Arkansas, I used my iPhone.
That is fucking awesome.
It is, man. And I preach this to people all the time, because you see people a lot of times on social media going back and forth. Look, if you want to have content, create your own content. And I saw somebody come back and say, well, sorry, I don't have a $5 million budget where I can just put all these things. well, I don't have a $5 million budget either, but you know what? I got this cheap iPhone, and I got this this cordless mic that I can Bluetooth to my iPhone, and I have this room with a backdrop, and I've got a couple of little cheap lights. I can do that, and so that's what I do. And again, different takes on it from everybody you ask, but that's how I do it.
Yeah,
and it's working for me.
I love that. It's like almost like you're creating your own destiny. Also, like kind of like a fake it till make it, right? But like also like you kind of act it as if you already have that movie budget, so a lot of people perceive you have a lot of movie stuff. And then I mean honestly, like you are making it. I mean you're in the Super Bowl stuff, you're national stuff, and like you are more than most people. But I think it's so inspiring to me. Like a lot of people say, yeah, they don't have this and stuff. I mean, whenever I was trying to do a podcast and stuff in the first time, all the things I was thinking about, it's like, well, I don't have a microphone for the podcast, and then like, well, I have this white background, but I need to like put like a sound forms and all that kind of stuff. And I was just telling myself an excuse. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna start with I had if you go back to watch my first episode, I had a Blue Yeti, like a cheap like microphone and all that kind of stuff. And then I just started it, and then people liked it, and then I enjoyed this process of talking to people and then sharing people's story. And then I just started it, and then you can build it up to now you might have like a iPhone to do it, the cheap lights and something like that. But either you will have more bigger show every time. Also, you can like get better camera over time, so it doesn't have to be like they have to have $5 million essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'll give another example of what I'm talking about. In 2018, okay, well, let me start over. I like to sing. Okay, I love to sing. People are always saying, you need to get a band together, go on tour, go do this, go do that. Well, you know what? I don't really want to do that because I have a job, I have a family, I have this, I have that. As technology started to evolve, in the app store on my iPhone, there's an app for almost everything. There's an app for that. In this date and time, there's an app for almost everything. So I was looking through the app store one day. Well, there was a little cheap karaoke type app. Okay, it's called Smule. And I said, let me download this just to see what the heck it's all about. So I downloaded it. This was in 2018. So, and it's pretty cool. You just, you pick a song. It's got thousands of songs. You pick a song and it plays the words for you on the screen. And you have your earphones in and you listen, and it plays the music and you look at the words. So, and as you're singing the words, it's also recording you.
Oh, nice.
Okay?
Yeah.
So it's recording your face. And so I was driving home from work one time. I pulled into my driveway at the house. I'm sitting in my police car. I'm in uniform. This was July 2018, I think. And I sang the song Easy by Lionel Richie. Okay, so I posted it, just messing around. And in the next few days, I got 8 million views.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a cheap little app that cost me like $9 a month.
Yeah.
Okay, and you can sing these songs, put them online. And so I started doing that, and I actually created a little page for me to sing on Facebook, and now I have about 570,000 followers. Okay, so over 500,000 followers. Again, this dude who lives in the middle of Oklahoma, who's never had a band, who's never, toured, who, I put these songs, these cover songs up on the internet, on Facebook, and I've got 500,000 followers. And
That's
so
awesome.
people just they need to take advantage of the technology, and a lot of people do. You see it on TikTok or there's a lot of viral videos. People just get on there and do it.
Yeah.
And so that's what I try to tell people in the acting industry. If you want to get your face out there, if you want to get some content, make it. And you don't need millions of dollars. You can do it for the price of what's in your back pocket.
Yeah.
And so just be very, very creative.
Yeah.
Like if I want to go out and like The Punisher is one of my favorite series on Netflix, John Bernthal. And some of his monologues in the show are awesome. So I've done some Punisher monologues and put them on there and get a lot of response. And people enjoy them, and you're showing off what you can do. And I don't even consider myself that good. I'm just at best a mediocre actor. Hey, but you know what? There's a demand for mediocre actors.
No, I think you're pretty good and awesome. I mean, like I think a lot of. I mean, I love to hear. I love like what you're doing. I'm like, you think about it, you have idea, you just do it, right? Like no wait for it. And then I totally agree about if you're acting and then being television, or if you're trying to be an influencer or something like that. Those people, I don't think there is like too much content it's too much for me. I mean, honestly, from like not right now, like I'm trying to do YouTube things, but whenever I was just doing the camera stuff, directing, producing commercial and stuff, most likely how I cast it was the people I know, because it's easier for me to reach out and easier for me to like know the expectation of the actors and what they can do and then what kind of voice, what kind of look they have. So it's like easy. So what I go through is I just like think about project is here. Okay, who will be best? And then like I work in the advertising industry, so I preach this to people. If I say elephant, what animal are you thinking about? It's probably not penguins, probably elephant, right? So if I see you on my Facebook feed all the time, if I'm thinking about hiring, veteran or like cop or something like that for my commercial, that's exactly what happened to me whenever I was doing that YouTuber commercial. It's like, well, it'll be perfect. And then like reach out to you, that kind of stuff. Even like I reach out to Magnum, like, hey, I need him,
Right.
So I think it's just pays off, and a lot of people being shy away from it. And that I do have the same dilemma now, is that I've been posting my YouTube stuff and all that kind of stuff all the time to people. Mm-hmm. Maybe people will get tired of it, but if they get tired of it, that's not for them.
Right.
So I can just maybe find somebody who are interested in my stuff. So as long as I know I'm creating a valuable content, then maybe I can post as much as I want. I don't know. That's kind of how you look at it, or maybe how,
No, that's exactly how I look at it.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't think you can post too much content, because if somebody doesn't want to look at it, they just swipe up, right?
Yeah.
So, I put reel after reel after reel. And
what do you think about TikTok?
I had an account, but with this stuff that has been reported about, possible spying going on, and it's kind of scaring me. So I went ahead and deleted my account. But if that was the only game in town, it might be different. I don't know, but it's not. I mean, you got Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. So yeah, I deleted mine until they get this all figured out.
So are you following the new things happening in the Congress and the TikTok?
I've heard that they're trying to ban it,
Yeah.
and to pass laws to ban it.
Yeah.
I've just been kind of hearing that. I haven't been paying a whole lot of attention to it, but and mostly because my wife's like, you need to, because she's scared of, and rightly so, of TikTok or somebody through TikTok hacking our phone or computer, or maybe getting into our financial stuff, whatever. And I'm like, okay, cool. I don't need it that much anyway,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, I mean, like, I think it's interesting to me because of the TikTok situation, and then I mean, there is so much program out there, and there are a lot of social media, even like Facebook, right? You put your phone numbers and the emails and all that kind of stuff. But TikTok, same thing, and maybe TikTok is doing a little bit more, but but a lot of people put all the credit card information on different websites and stuff. So
right,
I was just like, well, if you have a smartphone, you probably everybody have that information.
Yeah.
So I'm just and then also I'm just I don't know why that whenever I'm hearing those Congress people talking about how TikTok, and they don't really understand how that TikTok is doing stuff, or they don't even understand social media, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm just curious that what other people are thinking about. It's all over the news,
Yeah, and you're right, man. It's I think every big tech organization is doing it. I know that my wife and I can be standing in the kitchen, and she mentions we need to get new windows around the house, and then the next thing you know, Alexa is showing window commercials on our little machine there in the kitchen. I'm like, somebody's listening, so yeah. I mean, I'm sure they're all doing it, and there's no way to get away from it.
Yeah.
But I mean, what are you gonna do, man?
Yeah. And also it's honestly Alexa is listening to you 24/7 if you have Alexa, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just funny to me that people talk about it. But I was curious that so once you get you're saying you put yourself out there, put the demo reels together, and then all kinds of stuff. But also it was interesting to me, you say you took the acting class, and then that was audition class, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would you say that most takeaway from your audition class, or throughout you've been doing this more than 10 years, decade, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what was the things you wish you knew when you started to, as far as audition goes?
I wish it took me a long time to learn how to relax and be natural, because my acting teacher, Chris Freihofer, who runs the Actor Factory, he called me out on this a couple of times when he would give us scenes, we would come back, we would do the scenes or the monologues, and he said, you need to relax and stop acting. And I didn't get that for the longest time. Well, this is acting class.
Yeah.
We're actors. But he said, relax and stop. You're acting, stop acting. And what he meant was you got to relax. And like if I'm sitting here speaking with you, I mean, we're just talking.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's a difference between that and if I'm sitting here and I'm kind of, sitting upright, and I'm like, Yosuke, how is your podcast? There's a difference. You need to relax and just let the conversation flow. It took me the longest time to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
And I wish that I'd known that a long time ago.
How did you overcome that from natural? Because you have to memorize your script, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to act natural to speaking like a normal, right? What was the things? Did you practice it, or it was a mental? Oh, I got it now. Was that practice over time? How did you learn it essentially?
Yeah, it's it took me a while. And I'll tell you how I solved that. I actually still work on it. It's something that's always, even now, today, I'll be doing auditions, and I'll do a video audition. My wife's helping me. She'll be my reader. And she'll say, hang on, stop, relax. I go, oh, man, okay, all right. Sorry about that. And so it's still an ongoing struggle just to relax. So, but one thing that I do, and a lot of people can do this, because there's ways to train, because you can't go to acting classes all the time, because number one, it costs money. Maybe some people can, but I'm not rich. But it costs money, and it's only ever so often. You might go every Tuesday for 6 weeks. So acting classes are not that often. So what can somebody do? Just like if you like to train, if you like to work out, you can buy your own workout equipment. Okay, so you can also buy your own acting training equipment. And what do I mean by that? So if you have a smart TV, these days almost everybody does, and you can stream Netflix, Prime Video, Paramount Plus, Disney, whatever. You have all these shows that you have access to. So here's what I do. I'll pick a show, and I generally like to do soap operas. Young and the Restless is one of my favorites. And what I do is I'll play Young and the Restless. I'll watch a scene, see exactly how this guy, who's an accomplished actor already, because he's on daytime soap, he's got to be good, right?
Yeah.
So I watch him, how he interacts with this person he's interacting with, and I'll pause it, and then I'll do that scene. Just like he did it, exactly like he did it, and I'll do it again and again and again and again. And I'll do this for the whole show. And then I'll go back, and then I'll do these things. Okay, then I'll try to put Phil's take on it. How, if Phil was doing this scene, how would he do it? And I try to compare these, how he does it and how I would do it. And I try to watch how he's relaxed. I watch his face. I watch his movements. Okay, this guy he's not tense at all. He's just saying the lines because he's thinking about, like, this is a real situation. So he's dealing with this situation. He's not thinking about acting. So he's relaxed. So I watch it, and I do the scene myself over and over and over again. So I'm training. I'm trying to train myself to stay relaxed.
So it's not like you practicing impression. It's like practicing the skill.
Right.
That is interesting.
Yeah, and that's just, because I'm a fitness nut, and I know that if you want to be in shape, and because you work out, if you want to be in shape, what you got to do? You got to exercise.
Yeah. If
you want to be a good actor, what do you got to do? You got to exercise. So, and the more you do that, rep after rep after rep after, in your MMA side, if you're going to throw a jab in the right and left hook, okay, the first few times you do it, you're kind of tense, but you do it 1,000,000 times, and now,
yeah,
it's I can breathe it.
Yeah.
And you're going to be relaxed doing that stuff. So, long story short, that's what I try to do to help myself relax and not act.
I mean, that's good. I mean, like, you probably gain the confidence by doing it. You get better. And then, like, honestly, it's funny you said, like, doing, like, MMA stuff and the boxing and stuff, whatever, like, you practice. And then you get a certain point of, like, okay, I know, like, jab, cross, hook. I can throw it. And then, like, you're sparring with, like, somebody super good or whatever. And then, like, I get to the position of, damn, I don't know anything. I can't throw jab. I can't do cross. Or, like, I can't throw anything. Even though I level up, like, I see somebody else, then, like, somebody spar, I'm like, I can't hit anybody. Then learn more stuff. And I bet, like, is that acting is the same thing? Like, whenever you're acting and you're practicing that stuff, and then when you see somebody better than you or whatever, and then, like, you're acting towards somebody or, like, meet director, and then do you get to that certain point of, like, you don't know anything? Like, is there some feeling like that happen, like, in your, like, acting career?
It does happen. And it kind of goes back to when you get overwhelmed. Say, like, that time I got overwhelmed at the audition for the Chicago PD series. It happens, man. And you're like, you're walking into an audition and you see these people who are like, okay, this person is an actual director for one of the top shows in the country. I'm not worthy. What am I? Why am I here? So yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
That does happen sometimes.
Yeah.
So, and you just gotta. So if you want to get to the same level that this guy who you can't touch, what do? Train more, right? So that's what I try to do.
Yeah, and then also like I think that like one of the podcasts I had, and then I had a mural artist here, right? And then we were talking about this situation, and then I love what he said about it is that he's a mural artist, and then he paints mural all around the city, and then there is some other guy painted a mural, and then he went to go watch it, look at it, and then he was like, man, this is so good. I lost my job. Like, why would anybody will hire me? Like this, he's so much better than me. And then he says afterwards, and then I think his girlfriend told him, say, do you know like LeBron James? Right? He's like, yeah, and then he played basketball. Do you think he's better than you? Like, yeah, of course he's better than me. He's a basketball player. I don't even play basketball. So you don't compare to him to yourself. Right? So like what she said was that her point was, you're comparing to somebody who are better than you to yourself because you think of yourself in the same league than them. So you're a lot closer than you think you are to that person. So you should be proud of where you are so you can get to that position, because you will never be LeBron James, but you can beat that mural artist someday. So I thought that was beautiful things. Like, so like whenever you're thinking about Chicago PD, that great actor or whatever, you're comparing to yourself now. I don't even compare to that guy because I don't act, Right. So maybe you should like be proud of like whatever like you're doing, because you're in that room with that somebody. That's a good achievement, and someday, like you'll be better than him or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool things.
that makes total sense. I mean, this last project that I worked on, like, is I played a lead, my first lead in a feature film, and there was a girl named Annie Sullivan. She's out of Los Angeles, and she came to play one of the lead parts, and we did scenes together back and forth, and gosh, she was so good, man. And I was just like, I feel kind of like I don't really rate going back and forth with her, because she was so good, so smooth. She's really pretty, and you could tell she's been acting for a while. She I think she went to college to on a acting something. But she was really good, and but and that's just the way you feel, man. It's just, if you're a person who is a perfectionist and who always strives to be better, it's good to think that way.
Yeah.
Because if you get to the point where you say, I'm the best one there is, okay, then you're headed for a fall.
Yeah.
Then you're headed for a fall.
Yeah, if you're the best in the room, then you're probably in the wrong place. Right. Yeah.
Rocky Balboa used to say, stay hungry, right? So you got to stay hungry.
For sure. Yeah, so, you are also a retired military member. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And then I was curious that what was made you decide to go into military? And then a lot of young guys I train with is thinking about going to military. Like, do you have any advice to those people who are going to the military?
I do. My dad was a lifer in the Air Force. So I was born into a military family. We traveled around the world, with my dad, going to different parts of the world. And so a lot of our social life was spent around other military members and their families, spent a lot of time on military installations. When I was a little kid, if you were walking around on a military base and, they have retreat, which is, the lowering of the flag at the end of the day and the playing of retreat, you would stop and you put your hand over your heart. The military members, I'd watch them salute. and that's something that is that's a ceremony that happens every single day on military bases around the world. So I saw that, and at a very young age, I was proud of that. And my dad would take me to his work sometimes, and we would see the planes taking off and landing, and just the military guys coming and going and in their starch uniforms. I used to love to watch my dad and put his uniform on, just look so awesome, And I knew from a very young age I was going to join the military. So as soon as I got out of high school, I went right from high school right into the Air Force. And I spent 24 years. I got to travel the world and see a lot of awesome stuff. I wouldn't trade it for anything. So if somebody were to ask me, should I go into the military? By all means, yes. Because if your opportunities are limited on the outside, join the military, because there are so many opportunities and jobs and chances to travel and see the world and get to see how most of the other world lives compared to America. And all the countries that I went to, I saw firsthand how the USA is head and shoulders above every other country when it comes to almost everything. And I knew that it gave me a deeper appreciation for, what we have here, for our liberties, for our freedoms. And do we have some flaws and some pimples? Yeah, the prettiest people you have got some blemishes. Okay, same way with our country. We got some things we need to work on, but it's by far the best in the world. But I would recommend it to anybody to give them an awesome perspective on life, as well as enabling them to learn a trade that they can carry over for the rest of their lives if they want to when they get out. And my dad was in the Air Force. I had uncles who were in the Army. My brother was a Marine. I love the military, and now I help veterans as often as I can. I've helped a lot of guys get their VA benefits. I work as much as I can to bring attention to the tragedy of veteran suicide. I made a short film called 22 about that very subject, which did very well in the film festival circuit. I'm just very passionate about the military, helping veterans, and doing everything I can to make the world aware of the problems that some veterans have to face. But yes, to answer your question, I would recommend highly for any young man to go into the military.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So there are those who doesn't know about like 22, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like what is the 22 means to you?
The 22, on the average in the United States, 22 military veterans on average will take their own life, commit suicide. When you hear that number, that's kind of I know to me and maybe some others, but the number 22 is kind of a sacred number, because that represents, military members who take their own lives due to whatever their issues are, their demons, whatever word you want to use, but whatever is affecting them to drive them to that point. And that's too many, man. That's too many veterans who are taking their own lives. And it's one of my passions to bring attention and awareness to that, and to do everything I can to help as many veterans as I can. And that's just one of my things.
So how that what would you say to those veterans going through that?
There's a lot of things that could be said, but because even I've got some issues myself, and I would highly encourage these guys, and I do all the time, to go and get help. The VA's got a lot of resources that you can take advantage of. Go to the VA, go to mental health, and speak with a counselor. Go to the groups and talk to your brothers and sisters who are having the same concerns, and talk to them. Talk to anybody. And also, I would tell family members of veterans, or people who have good friends who are veterans, or people who work with veterans, if you see something, say something. Because a lot of times, before a veteran will take the ultimate way out, there'll be some signs. And people can look for those, because they do a lot of things, basically crying out for help, whether it be drinking too much, engaging in risky behavior, giving away their possessions, just anything that makes you look at somebody and go, that's kind of unusual. Go talk to them. Go talk to your family member. Go talk to your friend. Hey, what's going on? You want to talk to me? Can I give you a ride down to the VA? Why don't you go talk to mental health? Okay, just say something. Say anything. Because a lot of times they want someone to say something to them, but they won't ask for help.
Yeah.
Some do, because the VA is there's a big push now to get that information out there. So yeah, I mean, if you feel like a veteran that is having some issues, say something, because I would almost guarantee you they would appreciate it.
Yeah. It's like 22 a day, right?
22 a day. 22
that's
veterans
too
a day.
many. And then I heard that I work with a nonprofit organization called Warriors for Freedom, and then their new statistic in Oklahoma went down to 17, but still that's too many. And then it's they have outdoor recreational hunting, scuba diving, fishing, and then they come together. And then what I interview a lot of veterans, and then they go through stuff, and a lot of dark thoughts go through their head. And then what you're saying is some people can ask for help, but some people doesn't want to. But also I think it's an encouragement of the people to I like what you said, that if you see something, say something. And then I think if somebody invite somebody to go to those kind of group or BA together or whatever, I think that most likely they say yes. They might say oh, I don't want to do it, but what the hell, I'll go with you kind of stuff. But it's probably means more to them, to those kind of stuff. And then I think that I didn't go to military, but I there's something I understood being around with those guys is that they have a special camaraderie to their brothers and sisters that outsiders don't understand. But also I was curious that if the public people try to understand veteran people's perspective, is that kind of annoy the veterans? Or how can normal people normal public can help veterans? Is that their brother and sister, okay, they got this and they have to be together to understand, or they don't want to outside people in, or does that make sense? My questions are.
It does make sense, and I will say that veterans, most people have a family member who is a veteran. Most people do. It may be a little more distant than other family members, but most people have family members who are veterans. Because at any given time, our military is, 1 million people strong. So that's a lot of people. So there's going to be lots of family members. So I know I personally have never, ever been annoyed by someone who shows concern for veterans. That doesn't annoy me. In fact, I want people to be aware of the situation. And so if they're asking me about it, about my service or somebody else's service, well, at least this guy's thinking about veterans, or this person is thinking about veterans. Most people have veterans in their family. Most people have friends who are veterans. But as far as helping them, again, it's just whether you're a veteran or you're not a veteran, most people can look at somebody and say, hey, that's a little unusual what he's been doing lately. Let me see if I can talk to him. Or go talk to somebody who knows him and go, hey, he's been kind of doing this. I'm worried about him. Can you say something? If you don't feel like yourself going to speak to somebody, and that's understandable. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody is trained or has the inclination to go up to somebody and go, hey, we've been noticing this. Can we help you? Not everyone can do that, okay? And that's fine, because not everyone should have to do that. But go to somebody who is able to do something like that and go, hey, your family member is acting kind of this or that. And, when I was a police officer, we would get a lot of calls just like that. It'd be mental health, welfare calls, and we would go to them. And I've had so many family members or friends of people, hey, I work with this guy. He seems like he's been out of it lately. He's been talking about, he was in the military. He served in Iraq. It's the anniversary of his mother's death. And that was an actual call that I went on, and I'm just worried about him. Can you go talk to him? Sure can, And I would go. I spoke to the veteran. I was able to build a rapport with him, and which is good for a lot of police officers who are veterans themselves. They get it, and so maybe this family member doesn't really get it, but they realize there's something going on, or this friend, there's something's going on. So we call the police. Can you go talk to this guy? Sure. So that would be what I would recommend. If someone is noticing something that's kind of out of the way with a veteran that they know, you can get a hold of somebody who might be able to deal with it better than you or easier than you, and just say, hey, this is what's got going on with this guy. You think you could check it out? Call somebody that can deal with it.
Yeah. I don't you don't need to share this, but did you go through the dark times after service?
I like to talk about other people more than myself, but I will say this. After 40 years in the military and as a police officer, seeing some of the most horrible things that man is capable of, sure, I've had to talk to somebody. And there's no shame in that. I will say that, and I do tell people that, because how am I going to encourage someone to get some assistance if I'm not even able to do that myself after the things that I've seen? So yes, I've I regularly talk to somebody, and it's helped tremendously. So I would recommend that to anybody. There's always somebody there that you can get a hold of and talk to. And I've a lot of the guys that I've worked with, I'll say, hey, man, I know I'm not a healthcare professional per se, but I know how to talk to a person. Give me a call, I'll talk to you. And a lot of veterans will do that. A lot of veterans will do that for each other. Hey, reach out to me. I'm part of some veteran Facebook groups, and I've seen guys get on there and say something concerning, and you'll see 5 or 6 guys put their phone numbers up. Call me. Let's talk about it. So, yeah. So I've talked professionally to people. I have my own minister who I talk to. I got some buddies I'll call up and say, hey, let's go have some lunch, man. I want to bounce some things off of you.
Yeah.
And they get it. they get it.
Yeah, I think that is awesome. I mean, thanks for sharing. And also, like, a lot of people who, like, veteran or not veteran, like, some people going through stuff, obviously people can see it and then feel it. And then most people say, hey, if you need anything, reach out, kind of stuff. And then a lot of people doesn't reach out. But if you just actually, like what you're saying that, hey, let's go lunch this day, this time, and then they most likely say yes, rather than reach out whenever you want to, like if you do open kind of suggestion, people doesn't really take advantage of it. But I think it's nothing like a military veteran scale, but I've seen my friends kind of going through hard times. And then what I've been doing more is like, hey, what are you doing tonight? Let's go gym,
Right.
Let's hey, Thursday 1:00, be here, let's have lunch. And then it's like a yes or no answer.
Yeah.
So rather than like, hey, hit me up whenever you want to. So it's been very, very helpful for other people. Also, like, I myself is going through hard time, and then now my girlfriend's been in the hospital for 25 days now.
Oh man.
And then I was going through stuff, and then a lot of people reach out to me, and then even they're asking me how am I doing, helped me, like somebody cares,
Yeah.
And then also like I posted like a GoFundMe campaign 2 days ago, and then I'm so grateful that so many people have been generous to contribute the donations for her and her families and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I've been seeing like a lot of people still want to help, and then most people want to help each other people. And then like people thinks that sometimes I kind of get to the mindset of people sucks in general, but like it's like I've been humble and I've been grateful for a lot of people's kindness and caring and then love. And then I think that's what kind of life is about, to help each other stuff. And then hopefully that people who are listening to your story and then listening to what you went through, and also like what military veterans and all that kind of stuff, and then doing this podcast and sharing these kind of stuff, even one person can get help, and then that means so much, a lot to me. Then like I think that, I don't know, I've been feeling that lately because of the circumstances.
Yeah.
But I do not want to forget, and I think that caring about other people, helping, and I love that how you said, if you see something, say something. I think that's a beautiful thing you said, and then I will never forget what you said, and I think I will carry on to my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
But I just wanted to ask this too. You went to military service and then police officer career. What was the biggest takeaway you learned from those careers?
Probably, well, a couple of things. Number one is service to people. All I've ever wanted to do is help people and be of service. The military and being a police officer allowed me to do that for 40 years, man. So many opportunities to help people. So I got to do that. And I would encourage everyone, it sounds cliche and corny, but, just help people, man. Just be a brother. I mean, just help people. And that's, to me, that's what the military and being a police officer stood for. The second takeaway is prepare. Okay? Train. And if you're going to do something, you have to decide you're going to do it and not just sit on your butt and hope it happens. Okay, if you want to be a member of the military, you're going to have to live your life right, stay out of trouble, so you can sign your name on the dotted line. Otherwise, they're not going to want you if you're getting into trouble all the time. So spend your formative years going through high school and college, get your education, prepare, go into the military, and then what do you do when you join the military? You prepare by going to basic training, and then you go to your technical schools and any other schools that you have. You have to prepare your body and your mind to be able to handle the physical and the sometimes very hard mental aspect. So you have to prepare that way. And then you go to do your job, and being in the military is constant training. You have to keep your body and your mind trained up physically and mentally, and prepare, train. Same way in the police department. You got to keep your record clean. You got to go through a 6 or 8 month academy, and a lot of physicality. You got to be in shape. And then when you graduate the academy, then you go to a training program for several months, and you have to prepare. You have to take tests during that time. You have to keep your body in shape, because just because you're out of the academy now you're on the streets, you got to stay in shape.
Yeah. Okay.
And so even then, later you're studying for your sergeant's test, you're preparing, you're training, or you're going to, I was on the SWAT team for 25 years. So if you want to go into the SWAT team, you have to really prepare. You have to be in fantastic shape. You have to have your shooting down. And the only way you can do that is to train. And so when I retired, or when I got ready to become an actor, I went down and I took every class that the Actor Factory had to offer for the first year. I was training. I was preparing my mind constantly. So that's the second takeaway, is if you decide you're going to do something, you have to train and you have to prepare, and then you execute. It's not the other way around. Okay, a lot of people just want to be able to, hey, I'm just going to execute. Well, you didn't prepare.
Yeah.
You didn't train. You didn't get ready. If you'd have walked into your first MMA fight and you never trained, what would have happened?
You get killed.
Exactly. So that's my biggest takeaway. You have to train, prepare, and that's until the day you die, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, for sure. From my way of thinking.
Yeah. But that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, I love that. It's just like something I learned the other day. It's kind of same concept. You saying prepare, train, and execute. People try to do what you love or whatever. So like most people go for what you love, and then we have to love this what I'm doing, right? But that guy I was listening to, that he was saying like, first thing you have to learn, and then what you learn you can launch it, then you love what you launched. So like it's like a 3-step of like do what you love kind of deal. So I think that I love how you say you have to prepare and do it and then execute. I think it's just a lot of people shy away from putting the tough time,
Mm-hmm.
And I was curious, like, like military and then police officer, like I've been around with, interview and all that kind of stuff. They do like to talk shit, right? So whenever you guys, whenever you're doing acting stuff, like during police officer, you're still doing police officer stuff, do they like make fun of you? They'll talk shit about you doing acting and stuff?
Oh yeah. Let's see, what did I hear? I was called Hollywood. I got called Marlon Brando. I got called Denzel Washington. No, that's kind of a stretch, but but yeah, they just mess with me, and or I would say something like, if I was to stand up and give a briefing, there'd be guys out there going, "Are you serious or are you acting? Because we don't know." And then I'm like, well, that shows what a good actor I am, right? But yeah, man, if you can't be around a group of guys and girls like that without catching a lot of shit. Yeah.
So how did you deal with it? It's just like a brush it off, or
Yeah.
yeah,
It just brush it off, laugh it off, give it right back to them.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. I was curious, like like some people just stop it because of that happens, but anyway, so I do end these podcasts with the 2 segments, asking the same question to every guest.
Okay.
So I think I don't consider as an expert or anything, but I think I'm capable of giving advice to myself 5 years ago. That's the kind of approach I'm taking. So I'm curious, what were you doing in 2018, and then what advice you will give yourself 5 years ago? So what were you doing in 2018?
Yeah, 2018. I was still a police officer. I had just been acting part-time for a few years, still raising my family. Of course, all my kids are grown now. Well, they were pretty much grown in 2018, but I mean, the only advice I would give myself is what advice I give everybody, is like we just talked about. If you're going to pursue this acting thing, keep preparing. Keep practicing. Keep going out to your man cave and playing Young and the Restless and doing those scenes over and over again. Just keep doing what you're doing. I've been following my own advice since 2018, so I would just keep doing what I was doing.
That's pretty good.
I would tell my 5-year-ago self, I say, hey, keep doing what you're doing because you're doing a pretty good job of it.
That's the best feeling you have,
Yeah.
It's good. What about how do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I hope to have a lot of more leads in projects and acting and film projects, more national commercials. Because I just signed with a new agent out of Tulsa, Christina Jenkins, with Real Talent Studios, and she's been getting me some pretty good auditions, and I hope we kill it. I plan on killing it for the next 5 years, at least.
Yeah, I was curious. Like, would you recommend to have talent agent, or like, can you do it by yourself?
You can do it by yourself, but as just a lone actor, you don't really have the access to all the casting notices that come out. Because, for example, I'm on some websites.
How many agents do you have?
I just have one.
Okay.
Yeah, I just have one agent, and acting agents and managers, they have pipelines from, they have different sources to where they get these casting notices, which the actor who is alone does not have those. And you can't, as a casting director, you can sign up to these websites and where casting directors send these notices out to agents. They have they have those available to them, whereas the actors alone by himself, he doesn't have those.
So a good agent will have more notice or whatever.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How do you find a good agent?
Word of mouth. Basically, that's how I found Christina. Word of mouth. I had an agent in Atlanta for several years, but we parted ways for reasons I don't want to get into. But yeah, it's usually word of mouth, or my previous agent, and she was a pretty good agent. I don't want to sound like I'm bashing her, but she was a pretty good agent. She's the one who got me auditions with the Chicago series. And I found her through, she actually put a notice out for actors on social media. And I went down and auditioned for her, and she signed me on the spot. And so there's just different ways. It's usually word of mouth, though.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
So where people can find you, and then how can people support you?
I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. Just go to any of those sites and type in Philip Paz. You got to be careful though, because when you start getting noticed on the internet, a lot of scammers will pop up and steal your pictures and make up their own little pages as you and try to rip people off.
That's why you need a blue check mark.
Yeah, I know. And see, I didn't know about, when I first started on Facebook,
Yeah.
I didn't know about blue check marks.
Yeah.
And so I waited so long, and then when I did try to get one, they said they wouldn't give me one for whatever reason.
Huh.
I don't know why. I should try it again, I guess. But just search for me on there. On Philip Paz, it's the one that has over 500,000 followers. That's the legit Philip Paz Facebook page.
Perfect.
So yeah, man.
Then I mean, like, hopefully people see you on TV and then they say, oh, that's Phil.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do. And hey, listen, I really, really appreciate you inviting me to be on the show. And I've been keeping up with your stuff over the years, man, and you are killing it. In fact, you're one of my inspirations. I mean, because you really are. I mean, because you come out, you're a young guy. I don't even know how to say it, but you're who you are, but you're still killing it. Not that anything about you would keep you back, but you're the epitome of hard work, preparation, training, and execution. And I see you do that every single day, man, because I like to say I follow you. And you're doing an amazing job, and just keep doing what you're doing. And thanks for having me.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, right back at you. And I see you doing it and all that kind of stuff. You singing and, acting, putting the content out. And then, like, it just, like, makes me inspired of, like, like, you've done these careers and then changing the careers to be professional, becoming successful. I see from somebody, and I see you doing it, and then that inspires me as well. So that's why I asked you to be on this show. And then, like, I'm honored to have you in this show today.
Thanks, man. It's just just another example of people who are go-getters who feed off each other's success. And
that's another good thing about social media. I mean, we haven't seen each other for a while, but kind of like secretly getting inspired by each other. It's a beautiful thing. So a little bit. Yeah, maybe we should do lunch,
We should.
Once a year or whatever. But, well, thank you guys for watching this episode. If you're watching on the YouTube, please like and comment and subscribe. And then please share what you learned about Phil, and then what's your best takeaway. And then if you're listening to podcast streaming line like Spotify or iTunes, please give me a 5 stars. Hopefully do something good things about podcasts, and then probably do that. So please do so. And then see you guys next Friday. Peace.